Hi and welcome to this blog post. I am recording this like it's not done immediately after the last blog post I did because I am a master of deception and you'll never be able to tell. I am sort of strategically placed in front of the rubbish behind me. But I thought I'd better make use of this husky voice that I've currently got, especially as the next book that I'll be promoting today is a work from the fabulous Lily Harlem. It's the second of her books that I've had the pleasure of producing. And this one, so Lily writes amazing erotica, really well thought and fleshed out, and very appealing to my own personal interests. This one is called The Glass Knot. It's erotic threesome romance. Lily actually doesn't publish her books in paper form, so you can buy them to read on your telephone or on your computer screen, or I don't know how she'd read a book if you couldn't read it on paper. Some be imaginative, I suppose. Kindle, that's a thing. Or you can just listen to me write them for you, which obviously is better. And this one, I'm going to read you the blurb. What's a girl to do when the guy she falls for is married to another man? This is exactly what happened to me. Seeing Josh Kendall stroll out of the Mediterranean Sea, wearing tight navy swim trunks and looking like a hot new James Bond, was a truly delicious moment. Catching sight of his wedding ring was like a kick in the shin, and meeting his gorgeous husband, phew, that was enough to make any girl groan at the cruel joke God was playing on her. But all was not as it seemed, and when Josh needed a woman to sort out a delicate predicament, I was the one for the job. Heck, what did I have to lose? Certainly not as much as him, literally. Trouble is, emotions always get tangled. Loyalties can't help but be divided, and with a night of memories so hot they'd have the devil sweating, there was only one thing for it. It was time to get honest, fight for what I wanted, despite society's constraints, and open my heart to the people it needed most. That was the blurb for Lily Harlem's The Glass Knot, and I'm going to read to you a part of the prologue. So this is mostly narrated in the first person from the woman's point of view, but the prologue is actually the chap. So it's one of the chaps. So it's appropriate that I have such a deep voice right now, and probably would have been beneficial if I'd have had it for the duration, but I didn't, so sorry. Enjoy it now. Prologue. Josh. Here's to us. Nick clinked his glass against mine and gave a seductive smile, one that promised a night of sex hotter than the Costa del Sol's midday sun. To us, I said, tapping the rim of my champagne flute against his, and surviving against the odds. I leaned forward over a plate of delicate canapes and kissed him. My stubble scratched his smooth chin, and I berated myself for not finding the time to shave before our romantic moonlit meal. All I'd done today was lounge on the beach, listening to the lapping waves, and losing myself in my Kindle. I'd had a beer and some watermelon at lunchtime, and hadn't even noticed Nick step away to book the best table at the pier restaurant, the one right at the very end, set slightly apart and partially screened from other diners by a row of potted pink acacia plants. 10 years since tying the knot, Nick said, knocking back a slug of champagne. And man, it's been pretty up and down. I glanced out at the endless stretch of black water. A single strip of silvery light from the moon shone down, creating a magical sparkling path that tapered into the horizon. I popped a spicy battered prawn into my mouth and savoured the sweet chili, so different to the rank, prejudiced flavour I'd had constantly in my mouth as we battled my father's revulsion of our gay union. Nick tipped his head and studied me. I know I told you already, but I'm so enjoying having this time with you here. Marbella has always been somewhere I wanted to bring you. I smiled. It's great. The perfect anniversary destination. Nick pressed back in his chair as a suited waiter set a whole sea bass before him. The crispy skin was blackened and sprinkled with crystals of salt. A vivid green salad tossed with olives and walnuts accompanied it. "Thanks," I said, as my fillet steak, coated with creamy Stilton sauce, arrived. Fat chips overspilling a white bowl were set alongside yet more salad. The waiter topped up our glasses, and Nick nodded for another bottle of champagne to be brought out. I adored him when he was in this spoiling me mood. Just occasionally, when he was feeling romantic, he really splashed out. Not that he wasn't always considerate, he was, but away from his office, and in this luscious, relaxed holiday state, I really got to enjoy him. All of him. Every last bit of him. We dug into our sumptuous main courses, chatting about our Cotswold cottage and whether or not the new thatch would be complete by the time we arrived home. We also had a decorator in, freshening up the living room and scrubbing out the ingle nook which had blackened over several winters of blazing log fires that we'd thoroughly enjoyed sprawling in front of, naked and sweaty, adoring each other's bodies from early evening until the small hours of the morning. The hearth rug had been replaced twice, each one bigger and more luxurious than the last. An elegant yacht broke through the shimmering path of moonlight at our side. We paused to admire the sails and speculate which celebrity might be cruising by, which decadent millionaire was holding a lavish party for a select few, and getting the food and drink that would be served, what music would be played. Perhaps he even had a live performer, someone fabulous and talented, internationally famous, entertaining his guests. By the time my pineapple sorbet and Nick's chocolate torte arrived, I was feeling as mellow as I ever could. My sun-kissed limbs were relaxed, and my mood chilled. A holiday with Nick, eating a beautiful meal on our 10th anniversary, was about as perfect a moment as I could imagine. Try this," Nick said, offering forward a dollop of his torte. I opened my mouth willingly, as I always did for him, no matter what he offered. "Yum," I said, licking my lips and letting the heavy truffle dissolve on my tongue. "That's fabulous." "Do you still think of her?" he asked suddenly. His dark gaze captured mine, and his expression fell serious. "Her." I knew full well who he was talking about. Her, she, was fictitious, and stemmed from a drunken conversation. I've lost my place now. We'd had several years ago. "I'm sorry, Josh." He covered my hand with his. I shouldn't have brought it up. "No, it's fine." He rubbed his thumb over my knuckles and stared, unblinking at his caressing movements. Seriously, forget it. I sucked in a deep breath. I couldn't ignore the question, not now he'd asked it, because the truth was I did still think of her. In quiet moments, she was conspicuous by her absence. I'd suspected I was gay in my mid-teens, but it wasn't until I'd met Nick and fallen for him that I'd handed my body over to another person. Nick was still my one and only lover. "You know you're the most important thing in the world to me, Nick, the pivotal focus of my every waking moment," I said, and then paused, my tongue stalling with words that might hurt. "But yes, I do sometimes still think of being with a woman." Nick pulled his eyebrows low and studied my face. "It's different for you," I went on. "You had Cheryl before we met, Cheryl and others. For me, there has only ever been you." I'm going to stop there because the prologue is reasonably long and also gets really hot, and I don't really think you're ready to watch me reading hot erotica, really hot erotica. So you're just going to have to listen to the book yourself. It is based around an MMF love triangle. It's threesome romance, so there is a lot of straight, gay and bi sex in it, and it's fabulous. You can find that, The Glass Knot, written by Lily Harlem, on Audible, Amazon and iTunes, and I